Wellness Show, Episode 24.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. Welcome to the Wellness Show, and I'm quite excited today to have Michelle Follis on the call, and we're going to talk about access, which is all about choice. So Michelle, what is this about, this idea of choice?
Well, the thing about choice that I find to be so interesting is a lot of times it's one of the most powerful tools that we're gifted with the moment we're born, choice. And yet so many times we sort of see the limitations of choice instead of the possibilities of choice. And what's cool is that when you're willing to really see beyond the this or that reality of choice, so much more becomes available.
Well, that's really, really important. So if I'm understanding you correctly, are you saying that then choice leaves the door open to infinite possibilities?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, every time you choose something, whatever it is, you're creating something else on the planet. So
Right.
you're for not just for you, but also for other people.
Right. So choose wisely, because you choose not for yourself, but for everything. Sounds like a stewardship to me.
Well, and when you say choose wisely, it's also like it's like we've all made choices that may not have been so smart, you know. So it is about choosing wisely, and it's also about being aware of what it is you're choosing, so that if you make a choice that wasn't so smart, instead of going into all of the wrongness of you, what if you could just make a different choice?
So do you have a statement around that, an access statement around all that? Because that's pretty insightful.
Well, I don't know that I have a statement, but I would say that I guess the question would be is, what if when you go into the wrongness of a choice, let's say you made a really poor choice. I've made many of those in my lifetime.
Me too.
Yeah, imagine that. So let's say you've made a really poor choice. I guess the question that I would ask is, when you go into the wrongness of it all and sit there and spin around, is that then distracting you from making the choice you would really like to make, or making just a different choice that's going to send you in a different direction?
Right. So don't stew in your own juices and start judging yourself. You have an infinite amount of choices, and every 6 seconds you have a new choice. So choose something differently. That one didn't work.
Yeah.
So at least you're making progress. So you know what you don't want. So let's choose what you do want. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, is it fun to stew about all of the wrong choices you've made? I mean, to me personally, life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be filled with joy. So if I'm choosing to then stew in all of the stupid mistakes I made, the energy of that doesn't really contribute to the planet or to your life.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you're so lost in yourself that you really aren't any good for yourself, let alone anybody else. Yeah, the whole thing about judgment is really, we all know that we're our own worst enemies, that nobody could judge us more than we judge ourselves. So, if we just back off, and like you say, it's just another choice. You can choose to yourself, or you can choose, hey, I learned from that, let's get on with it. And guess what? It takes away the stress, both for you and on the planet. I mean, if everybody did that, we might have a more peaceful planet to live on. I think that's what you're getting to, right? It is all about choice.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like everything. It takes, you have to work the muscle to get to the space to be able to not stew or to choose something different sometimes. Or, one of the tools in Access that is, I found to be a great contribution. And it's funny because I've been in Access for practicing the tools of Access consciousness for 4 years. And I've this tool, the question to ask and the tool is, what if everything is just an interesting point of view? Because you alluded to judgment. And when everything is just an interesting point of view, it allows you to get out of judgment and just go, that tool for me has taken practice to get to. And so what we were just talking about, like if there is a choice that you've made or somebody else in your life has made that you feel wasn't a contribution to you, if you can ask the question or get into the space of, what if that's just an interesting point of view, it kind of dissolves the energy of judgment.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I have an example. I just raised my fees and I was brave enough to put it on my Facebook page, and somebody said, well, it's a ripoff. Well, I can make a judgment about myself. Oh, maybe it isn't, I'm not worthy of that because the person thinks it's a ripoff. Or I can say, that's an interesting point of view. I don't need to judge myself. I don't need to judge the person. And if I allow that energy to come into me, good, wrong, bad, right, doesn't matter. It's energy. I get to use it. Whereas if I'm trying to push it away from myself, right? Oh no, I'm bad, I'm rotten, I didn't do it right. Then all that energy, it's literally consuming my own personal energy. So to be able to say in a moment when there's heat, but in the reactive moment, that's an interesting point of view, takes you and them off the hook. I know that takes for me a lot of practice, right? I have to catch myself right in the moment with what other choice do I have? And that's one of them.
Yeah. It's so cool when that begins to happen. I had a similar experience just the other day. I was with a friend and I knew there's something in Access too, and really just in life, about when you share too much with people and you can just perceive the judgments that are starting to come at you. It's like when you share an idea with somebody that you're really excited about and you've been excited about it, let's just say even for a month, and you share it with one person and they can just suck the excitement right out of you, right? They could just judge it all away. And so in this moment, I was aware of my oversharing in the past. So I kind of went into the space of asking, how much can this person receive? And then when the judgment started coming, I knew that it was just an interesting point of view. It was just an interesting, yeah.
The interesting part about that also is it's all, from my point of view, an interesting, it's all an inside job is what I'm getting at. So if somebody's judging you, it's got really nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with them. And so, so when somebody says something like that, then it's an opportunity. If you do have a reaction, that's a flag going up that there's something inside of me that needs to have some work done on it. So that means everybody, good, bad, rotten, mean, nasty, or whatever, showing up in my life is a big gift. And as soon as I can recognize that, then I have the opportunity to work on inside of myself and get over myself, so I can just show up and be me. And the tendency always is, oh, poor me, or oh, that wasn't fair, or like you say, I gave and I gave and I gave, and they didn't see me for who I am, and it's not a just and fair world, and if they loved me, they'd pay me more money. I get lost in that one too. In fact, I'm on a bit of a rant, but isn't that the basis of most of the wellness providers and practitioners? Is we're so used to giving the shop away and all the candy in it And then we're expecting that somebody's going to value us or appreciate us for giving it all away when we haven't learned how to receive it yet. This is the big one I'm working on.
Well, and what you're talking about, the question, and another great question from Access when all of that comes up is simply to ask, is that mine?
Exactly. Is it mine?
I mean, yeah, is it mine or is it somebody else's, or does this belong to me? And just being in the energetic space of, is that mine? And just seeing if you get a yes or if you get a no is really freeing, because 99% of the time it isn't yours anyway.
Yeah, so why run all that trauma that isn't yours? And, and that's what I teach people too is, where's your boundary end and where does somebody else's begin, and what's yours, what's theirs, what's the planet, what's the galaxy. And if we're intuitives, we're running all of that simultaneously. And if you don't know what your boundaries are, you're going to burn yourself out pretty quick. So yeah, this is a big one. What is it, mine or is it theirs? Is it heavy or is it light? If it's light, it's mine. If it's heavy, it's somebody else's. These basic principles really help you get through the day so that you're not trying to, heal the planet every day, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. And, the thing too about choice is, when you're willing to choose for you, you're willing to make choices that are for you. So even when you are kind of like we've been talking about, if you're picking up on other people's energies or you're being made, wrong by somebody else, it's like when you're willing to step into the space of choosing what's going to work for you, it's such a contribution to your life and to the planet.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We also get caught on the sticky point that, well, if I choose for myself, I must be selfish and I'm not considerate of other people and I'm not considerate of the planet. But no, it's the other way around. If you choose for yourself wisely, and if you don't, well, then choose something else. And when you choose to show up and be authentic and play the game of life full bore right on, then guess what? You're showing up for everybody else on the planet, and you'll get the recognition and the energy that you need and the support, and you deliver your goods to the planet. If you're hiding your energy under a bushel basket, hiding your light, then nobody can see you. You're just sort of sitting around saying, oh, nobody sees me. Oh, I'm too brilliant. I'm going to blind everybody. We play these incredibly complex games on ourselves instead of just showing up. And like you said, make a choice. Just make a choice.
Yeah, because it's like, it's like we all have things that we know we'd like to choose. Like if something pops up into your awareness and it's there and it's there and it's there and it's been there for like a week or a month or a year, what if that is the universe inviting you to choose? One of the things I've definitely learned throughout my life is that when I am willing to listen and to know what it is that I know, even if the choice seems crazy, I'm supported by the universe. The universe supports me because it's showing me the way. It's like we don't have to do it all alone. We don't have to be all alone and on our own. It's like if you have a big choice to make, you don't have to, you're actually not alone. It's like we are being guided by our knowing if we're willing to hear that.
Yeah, that's again another powerful point of view. Which are we choosing? Are we making a choice from our human mind consciousness, which is overwhelmed by shame and guilt and fear and doubt and all those things that we beat ourselves about, or are we being still and quiet and going inwardly and listening to that still voice inside, which is our guidance? And from that stillness, if we make a choice, then all of heaven and earth and all the planetary intention is going to be there for us. And we move forward with ease and grace. So the choice is, do we want to make it difficult and go a human mind consciousness, which is pain, suffering, drama? I mean, that's what, Hollywood and soap operas are all about. Do we want to lead a life like a soap opera? Or do we want to go into the silence, the golden silence, like you say, and allow ourselves to be guided? But that means we need to learn how to shut up. And for most of us, including me, I love to talk, right? I think I got a lot to say, and not only that's important, and you should be listening to me, and before you know it, I'm off playing a motor mouth. And the possibility of shutting up long enough to listen to guidance isn't there. And even if the magic of choice was showing up, I'd miss it because I'm too busy talking. So there could be infinite possibilities showing up in this moment, but I'm so busy being me and in my ego, all these opportunities are just like whizzing past me, and I'm not seeing them to take advantage of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely grew up in a family where your opinion mattered, it was like, like sit at the dinner table and let's all state our opinion, Yeah. And I mean, it's like, how constrictive and restrictive. Talk about not being in the space of possibilities and choice. And then it's like you're supposed to stick to that. Like, God forbid you change your mind, That's the other thing about choice that's so cool, is that if you're willing to, and you alluded to this earlier, Tyson, in Access, they say a choice is only good for 10 seconds. And that may be really hard for some people to hear, like 10 seconds. My God, that sounds chaotic and crazy. And how can I even go there? But one of the things I think in this reality that really sticks us is when we choose something and we don't allow for the natural ebb and flow of that choice and of what is showing up to help to guide us to then actually perhaps change our choice or tweak our choice or drop our choice completely and choose something different.
I like that. So when you make a choice, don't set up your camp and camp out there forever. You got another choice that's going to be coming immediately. So be ready. It's not as though, I made that choice, we're just going to go down that. It's not like making a choice at two different pathways and you're choosing one pathway and that's it. There's infinite pathways and infinite choices, so don't get stuck. And there's a tendency to say, I made the right choice, aren't I smart? And boom, you're locked into a choice that may or may not be good. The point is, make a choice and then be open to another choice almost instantaneously. That is counter to our human nature of how we've been taught. Make a choice and stick to it. That's the only way to succeed. Stop being wishy-washy. But no, it's the other way around. What's the infinite possibilities that are showing up and on infinite choices that are possible in this moment? All I have to do is choose. Not be frozen in time.
Yeah. And acknowledge, that's another piece with choice that I think is forgotten. It's when you do choose something, acknowledge yourself for making that choice. I mean, let's be honest, there are some really big choices in life that are not always easy to make. And even the small choices, it's like, if you want to change something that's going on in your life, and let's just talk about something that's sort of simple, like if you want to, if you're not happy, let's just say, or you'd like to be happier, even keeping it more simple, if you are willing to ask yourself, what, or go back to the times where you did experience joy, and maybe you've cut things out of your life, and if you're just willing to choose one of those things and do that thing or be that thing or receive that thing, acknowledge yourself. Every time you make a choice, acknowledge yourself for making a choice.
Yeah, I think that's great. So what you're saying is the attitude of gratitude is extremely powerful, and give yourself some brownie points or gold stars for making some choices, either good, bad, right, wrong, doesn't matter. You made a choice. And for that, you should be eternally grateful, because at least you're not stuck in one place wondering what to do. You just made a choice. And then when you appreciate the fact that you have the ability to move forward and have gratitude, guess what? You get more gratitude in return. And now your life like just flows with some more ease and grace. Yeah, I like that whole idea. I'm trying to remember doing that before I go to sleep, is, what choices did I make? And not whether I made the good choices or bad choices, but what choices did I make, and have gratitude that I had that chance to make those choices. I didn't feel stuck in any part of my day. I didn't get caught up in any of my drama, of any of my ego stories. I didn't get overwhelmed and frozen like a fly on the wall. Yeah, it's a constant awareness of coming to the fact that I have a choice, and to thank myself for at least showing up and having a choice.
Yeah, it is amazing. I was thinking about that for myself a few days ago, because I can get into the space of wanting to create more in my life, and create more and create more, and choosing and choosing and choosing, that I forget that I'm even choosing, and it's such a disservice to ourselves. And it's almost like I came up for air and looked around, and I was like, wow. Look at all of the choices I've made, and what those choices have created in my life. I think it's really, really important, because, as you say, there's such power in gratitude, and then it really it just carries out into other areas of your life.
Yeah, there's another
really cool
level to this that I'm starting to play with, and that is, choice has really got to do with the ego, and the ego really wants to be in charge. So choice is the ego saying, hey, I got to be doing something. I got to do in order to achieve. But, you're on this roller coaster like this. And in guidance is no, the choice comes through in the stillness of being quiet. It's got nothing to do with even asking the question. The question is, can you be still enough in order to receive the answer? And then the choice comes automatically, and you got that feeling, oh, this feels light, this doesn't feel light. So now you're stepping in. It's almost like you're following the yellow brick road. It's not as though you're making very many choices anymore. It's almost like they're presented to you. So I think part of the choice idea is to keep the ego busy so it has something to do, so that you can have an opportunity to learn to listen to your guidance. But that's just what I'm coming to. I have no idea whether that has anything to do with access, but that's what I'm starting to play with.
Well, and a couple of great questions that you can ask, because there's like what if so a great question to ask would be, or could be, what can I choose today to create my life right away? Just what can I choose today? And sort of be in the stillness, or be in the energy of it, and just see what comes up. And is it actually to go get a massage? Mm-hmm. Is it to spend time on this business? Is it to, go to the specific restaurant? Does that pop into your awareness? Because the thing about it is that from my point of view, when you are listening to what is being asked of you to choose, you never know what that choice is going to create. So, for example, like going with the lunch thing, let's just say that, you ask that question, what can I choose today to create my life right away? And you just, all of a sudden you get this ping to go to a restaurant. And so you go, okay, sure, cool, I'm going to choose that. So you go to the restaurant, and then you run into somebody, and that creates a whole nother series of your life, because they're like, hey, I've been thinking about you. And, you just never know what is going to show up. Right. And you also don't know how it's going to show up. And it's not about figuring it out, right? From my point of view, it's about allowing what would like to show up, and then just decide if you'd like to choose or not.
Yeah, I like that. I think what you're saying is something like this: is what does my body want? And asking your body, and does your body want to go for a walk, or does it want to go have a soda, or what does it want to do? And if you follow what the body wants and show up, then all sorts of things can happen. All sorts of possibilities in that chain of events will occur that you couldn't have any control of. And so, yet again, the whole desire that somehow we need to be in control of what, where, when, how, when, why, and all these confusing questions, I need to figure this all out to get my life in order, are just getting in the way of you just showing up and making a choice and asking your body, what would you like to do today? And allowing yourself to be in the flow of the moment, to have the experience of just showing up. Now, for most of us, and myself included, I'm still stuck on the hamster wheel of that do. In my business, I got to do. If I don't do, I don't succeed. So to break that habit, which is part of our culture that's so ingrained, or you have to go to university to succeed, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or whatever the story is, letting go of those ego stories that are infinite, and always running on endless loops in the back of our head, and just saying, no, what does my body want to do? Oh, I'm going to go have a coffee with friends. That's a big one for lots of people, right?
Yeah. And you can ask that same question with your business. Like, I invite you to play with that, like, what would my business like to create today? And so you can do it with all different areas of your life. And another great question that you can ask if you are feeling like you're on the hamster wheel and you just are overwhelmed, it's like I have 5 million things to do, is to just ask, what will my life look like in 5 years if I choose this?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and then of course, then there's that polling idea too. Is if I'm an infinite being and there is no past, present, and future, then 5 years from now, that being of who I be, I can pull that right. I can pull that right in the present and use that energy right in the now moment. It's sort of like quantum jumping. That part of you that's already had that experience, that's already the grand master of whatever. Why don't you go talk to him? Because that part of you already knows how to do it. Why don't you pull that energy into the present instead of feeling stuck with your limitations that you have now? If it's true that we're infinite beings with infinite possibilities, then why don't we use our infiniteness to show up in this moment? That's another big one. So this is really exciting, and we could go on forever with infinite possibilities of how to play the game of choice. So we're getting fairly close to the end of the show. So I know you're going to want to leave us with some tips and tricks to help us move forward. And also people should know how to get hold of you so they can play more with you to learn how to make choices. So how do people get hold of you?
People can get a hold of me of various ways. I have you can find out kind of all of the things that I've going on at about.me / I think it's /Michelle.Follis, and it's Michelle with 1 L. I'm actually also going to be teaching a 10-day telesummit that Charlinda Bird is putting on in April, and that's at the end of April, and I actually have to look at the dates. It's April 28th through May 8th, and you can find out more about that it's called 10daysofsummit.com. And accessconsciousness.com. I post classes that I'm having there, and I'm available to do sessions, and so you can find out about all of that good stuff at those 3 sites.
Great. So that was exciting to talk about choice. So what would you like to leave our listeners with some hot tips and tricks here?
Okay. So I guess for me, what I would like to invite people to when it comes to choice is to really be willing to be in question. From my point of view, conclusion kills, it stops, it limits you from choosing more. It's like if you think you can either choose this or that, you've already decided that there's nothing else available. So some really simple questions. And again, in Access Consciousness, the questions are simple, yet they continue to be so powerful. So, what else is possible here that I've never even considered? What else is possible here that I've never even considered? One of the questions we alluded to earlier, what can I choose today? How about this? What can I choose today to create something different right away? And one other question, what's another great one? Well, to me, as I alluded to as well, choice and life is supposed to be fun. So what can I choose today that would be fun for me?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, and it's not about going up here. It's really about just asking the question and then just seeing what shows up. And what I mean by that is something may come to you right away. It's like, what would be fun for me today? What can I choose that would be fun? And all of a sudden it's like, bam, it's this thing, it's whatever, leave work an hour early or go for a walk or anything at all, but play music. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right.
When you're in question, begins to really open up the space to creating the life that you would like to have.
Oh, that's great. We had a bit of a blip in recording here. So if you could just, that last one, if you could just do a little repeat of that, if you can rewind. If not, doesn't matter, because you were in a nice flow there about what you were talking about. Can you grab that one again?
Yeah, is it, you mean about the fun piece?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I invite people to, remember that life is supposed to be fun. And so if you're willing to ask, what would be something I could choose today that would create fun in my life? Right away, by the way.
Yeah, right away.
Right away. Why wait?
Yeah, why wait for tomorrow?
Here, yeah, why wait for tomorrow? Instead of going up here, just see what shows up. And if you're willing to tap into that, the fun, the being in question, really catching yourself when you go to conclusion, you're going to open the space to begin to create the life that you would love to have.
Yeah, let's all have the life that we'd love to have. Let's bring miracles into our lives. Let's have a lot more fun. Let's show up and make this the brilliance that we be. Show up and just be the brilliance you be. Michelle, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and I wish you all the best. And I'm excited about the fact that you're going to be on this series, and it will be in the show notes about how people can get hold of you and participate in that. So thank you for being on the show. It was lots of fun, and I think we made the right choice.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tyson. I'm grateful as well. It was really nice to meet you. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity. Okay, bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.